Like our content? It's funded by viewers like you. Please consider becoming a sustaining supporter of New Church Live today.
Good morning. New Church Live. I finally made it. I'm Grant Schnarr. I'm leading the service today. Been watching New Church Live, being in touch with New Church Live for a long time. In fact, I helped get this set up many years ago, and so it's so great to be here and being able to be with you today. So I welcome you here in the audience and also those who are online. It's cold here. Very cold. I spent 13 years in Chicago, and I said when I moved back here, I will never complain about the weather again. It's cold. Today, we're going to be talking about loss of hope, times when we're very down, maybe we've really given up. And in this series, it's about giving up on our ideals that we have, things that we love about ourselves, about life, and we look out into the world, or we look at ourselves and our own lives, and we say, I'm not living it. Life isn't showing up the way I thought it would show up. And we can get in a time, and I'm sure everybody can relate to this, at times where we give up. It's not that we give up on life, but we give up on those ideals that we had, those hopes that we had, the way we look at the world, the way we see ourselves and how we wanted to show up in our marriage, our friendships, our relationships, at work. We can find that time. What's it all about? There's stories again and again in the Bible about this. It's really interesting. This particular story is about Hagar and her son Ishmael in the wilderness, kicked out into the wilderness, walking along, and Hagar sees that her son is dying. Now, spoiler alert, the Lord saves them, but it's a story. Swedenborg even says right in this story, this kind of story is given a lot in the Word. Why? Because it happens a lot to us. And so it's there. And yet every time in these different ways that it's presented in the Word, whether it's somebody wandering in the wilderness, whether it's somebody who lost someone who's hungry, someone who's blind, someone who's terrified, hiding somewhere, in all of these places, the Lord is showing us a different way that we can handle the state we're in. A different way to show no matter what you go through in life, it's covered. I've got you covered. And if you're willing to give it a chance, I'm going to bring you something better than you ever had before. And so that's what we're talking about today, Hagar and Ishmael. And this story really shows up a lot when people are growing up and getting out of school, coming out into life. Think of the ideals that you might have had when you were very young. Life looked beautiful, everything's possible. And then all of a sudden we find, we're not living at home anymore. Hey, Mom, where are you? Dad, maybe it's like we go off to college and we're like, wow, I'm so used to this little school I grew up in. This is huge. What's this all about? We get out into life, the same thing. We get married, win a marriage, have a kid. Where are the directions? And it can become very, very hard. So I'm so glad you guys are here because we're going to come back to the story and take you right through it. So let's welcome our musicians.
When I look into your eyes, it's like watching the night sky or a beautiful sunrise. There's so much they hold, and just like them old stars, I see that you've come so far to be right where you are. How old is your soul? skies get rough, I'm giving you all my love. I'm still looking up, and when you're needing your space to do some navigating, I'll be right here patiently waiting to see what you find. 'Cause even the stars, they burn, some even fall to the earth. We got a lot to learn. God knows we're worth it. No, I won't give up. I don't wanna be someone who walks away so easily. I'm here to stay to make the difference that I can make. Our differences, they do a lot to teach us how to use the tools and gifts we got. Yeah, we got a lot at stake. And in the end, you're still my friend. At least we did intend for us to work. We didn't break, we didn't burn. We had to learn how to bend without the world caving in. I had to learn what I got and what I'm not, and who I am. I won't give up on us, even if the skies get rough. I'm giving you all my love. I'm still looking up. I'm still looking up. Well, I won't give up on us. God knows I'm tough enough, and we got a lot to learn. God knows we're worth it. Even if the skies get rough, I'm giving you all my love. I'm still looking up.
Woo. So beautiful. I won't give up. So let's talk about this story, Hagar, Ishmael. So there's a lot of backstory here. I'm not going to get into all of it, but just think about this. Hagar was growing up in her son in a beautiful, beautiful, what you might call household with Abraham, Sarah. She believed that she was blessed, absolutely blessed to have all this, sense of future in her life. Perhaps her son would rule with Sarah's son. She would be taken care of all her life. And yet the next thing she knew, she was sent away by Abraham with her son. He gave her some water, like a skin of water, and some food. Her son, goodbye, off into the wilderness. I mean, she woke up and he said go, and she was out there wandering. What does that mean? What does that mean? The Lord tells us again and again, like we were talking about earlier, that this kind of thing can happen to us on a spiritual level. There are so many stories about wilderness in the Word, and all of them mean a time of hunger, a time of thirst, a time of want, a time of temptation. And so this sense of Hagar wandering out in the wilderness, suddenly she's no longer there, being cared for. Her son isn't being cared for. She's going along in this wilderness. And that was a surprise to her, obviously. Now, in the same way, what's interesting is we look at this as a story about ourselves. It's the same thing. We can have these hopes and dreams for ourselves. We can feel like we've been blessed. But then things can happen in our life where we begin to realize it's not what, perhaps even, it's not what we were told. It's not what we believed would happen. It's not what we hoped for. So in this story, imagine, here she is. She's got that water she's carrying, along with the food and with her son. And it says that the water began to run out. Now in life, what happens with us, imagine you get out of school or you leave home and you get out there and you think you got it. I know how to live. I've got that water. That's a symbol of truth in practically every religion. I've got that water. I know what I'm doing. I've got food. I'm out there on my own. But it starts to run out very quickly. And there's this sense or this feeling like what I thought was going to carry me through life isn't. It's not going to sustain me. How about this? What they taught me about how to live doesn't seem to work. That's what this story is about. Because she represents us in times when we get out there in our lives and we try to put it together and we have our hopes and we have our dreams and they don't seem to be, worse than they don't seem to be coming true, they seem to be dying. And so that's what she sees. Imagine this again, her son whom she loves. In fact, think about it. Is there any stronger symbol of love and care than a mother for her child? That's why that's there in the Word. Think about that. I mean, it didn't work this way, but if there was a committee that was developing the Word, what would they say? The boss says, we need to get across somehow to folks that their life can feel like it's really bad. And then we'll show them how to come out of it. And somebody, maybe comes up with, a woman in the wilderness and her son's dying. That'll do it. Anybody and everybody can relate to that. So think about this. So every hope and dream that she had was in her child, of course. And then she sees and she recognizes at some point here that he's not going to make it. Her love, her precious jewel, everything of her hopes, her dreams, he's not going to make it. He's not going to make it. Now, inside of us, spiritually how this happens is the Lord says this really is about our hopes and dreams for ourselves, about life. So it could be like, for example, we have these ideas of what we're going to give to society. The job we're going to have, the usefulness that we're going to produce for this world. And we get out there and we're fine, we're doing something that we really don't feel is useful at all. Maybe it is, but we feel like it isn't anymore. What am I supposed to do with my life? How many have grown up with these dreams we've been told about what kind of good person we can be? That life, if we follow the Lord, everything's going to work out. It's going to be beautiful. Look at the heavens, maybe with celestial, spiritual, whatever. It's going to be great. And then what happens? You get out in life. Is there anybody that doesn't get out into life and fall flat on their face with something spiritual? Absolutely. But if you find in time in your life, and again, I think we've all felt this, times where perhaps we've had these ideals, maybe it's an ideal about marriage, about true love, ideals about friendship and the people you wanted to gather around you in your life and to support, and it's not working, you feel like none of this is working out for me. That's Hagar seeing her son passing away. So what's really interesting in this story, interesting in a sense, is that when she sees her son dying, she sets him underneath a bush and walks. What it says, it's like a bow's shot away. Imagine shooting an arrow, and then following that arrow, she really didn't have one, but about a bow shot away, and she went under a tree, under a bush, and she cried. And she just waited. She said, let me not see the death of the boy. Now, when I read that, I hear that, and I you may too as well, but I think to myself, why would you leave your child? I think a lot of parents would go, I am staying here. I'm going to see this. But again, you have to look at this as one story where the Lord is saying, sometimes it happens like this. And this is how I can help you at this time. Sometimes you're going to want to walk away from the most beautiful dreams you had because they're dying before you and you can't face it. Now, the first time that this really hit me actually was when I was working in Chicago. I was building a church in Chicago, and there was this one woman. I was in my late 20s. She was in her 30s, and she is helping me. She lived in Chicago. She had grown up in a church. And so she's helping me put this church together and get people to come on out and all that. And she said to me, you know what? I have to confess, I haven't been in church in years. I haven't been in church in years. I'm like, oh, okay. What was that about? She goes, I grew up, I was taught so many ideals about marriage, about preparing for marriage and how you can do that and you're going to end up with this beautiful love. And then I got married young, and it didn't work out for me. And those hopes and dreams that I had about what relationships or that kind of relationship could mean to me was dying. It died. So I couldn't face it anymore. I didn't want to hold those ideals still up in my mind. That love is possible. That if I do it right, I'm going to have the best relationship anybody's ever had. That the Lord has promised me this precious pearl of life. Forget it. She said, you know what? I wanted to not only get away from the church, but I wanted to get as far away from the teachings as possible. Bow shot away. I want to get as far away from those teachings as possible. Because why? Because she doesn't care? Because it hurts. Because it hurts. So think about it in your life. Are there things in your life that you're holed up in your life that are important to you, that you found perhaps it doesn't work that way? It's too hard to hold on to that. It's too hard to hold on. I mean, look at it in today's society, on the news, anywhere you go. Everything that's going on in the world, you can look at it and go, this is not the world I was hoping for. This is not the world I imagined when I was a child. And that's true across the world. It's human nature. So in this case, she goes a bow shot away. Let me not see the death of the child. And in our lives, that's again, we can't, you get to that ideal in life and you realize that you're not going to be able to live it. So you go away in resignation. Resignation, not for me. Now maybe, a lot of people do leave the church for a time, right? It's almost like a natural thing. Swedenborg talks about that. You come to a point where it's no longer, it's your parents' religion, and it's no longer, you get to a point where you realize, do I want this or don't I? And you actually make a choice. And some people, it takes 20, 30 years. Or they create something else in their lives that fills that void, that allows them to have ideals. But there's a time, or there can be times where I give up. And in this, imagine, she goes a bow's shot away. And it's very interesting because a bow here Swedenborg says the bow represents doctrine. And it's so interesting to read this in Swedenborg in his Arcana Celestia. He goes, to shoot a bow and go a bow shot away means get as far away from doctrine as you can. Meaning I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to hear what the church says. I don't want to hear what that self-help book said that I could do in 3 easy steps. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go home. I'm going to read a book. Maybe watch a little TV. Get to bed early. Get up in the morning, go to work. Come home. Read a book. Watch a little TV. Go to bed. Get to work. Living a life apart from the dreams and hopes we had. A life that's safe, and yet not really. Because we cannot stop from mourning about what we lost. Now, I could end it there, but I won't. We'll come back. But right now, let's hear from our wonderful musicians.
It doesn't matter where you roam, when no one's left to call you home. I might have strayed a bit too far. I'm counting all the moonlit stars, and I'm a little lost at sea. I'm a little birdie in a big old tree. Ain't nobody looking for me here out on the highway, but I will be found. I will be found when my time comes down. I will be found. Some days I think it's all okay. Some nights I throw it all away. I saw her face and I could tell my ghost had left the town as well. And I'm a little lost at sea. I'm a little birdie in a big old tree. Ain't nobody looking for me here out on the highway, but I will be found. I will be found when my time comes down. I will be found. I'm a little lost at sea. I'm a little birdie in a big old tree. Ain't nobody looking for me here out on the highway. Baby, I'm a runaway train. Baby, I'm a feather in a hurricane. Maybe it's a long gray game, but baby, that's a good thing. 'Cause I will be found. I will be found when my time comes down. I will be found. So I keep running till my run is gone. Keep on riding till I see that dawn, and I will be found. I will be found.
Wow, thank you. Can we see the first, the first slide where it says early the next morning? I would love to look at that because I forgot to put that up there. Early the next morning. Thank you very much. Early the next morning, Abraham took some food and a skin of water and gave them to Hagar. He set them on her shoulders and then sent her off with the boy. She went on her way and wandered in the desert of Beersheba. Can we get to the next slide? When the water in the skin was gone, she put the boy underneath a bush. Then she went off and sat down about a bow's shot away, for she thought, I cannot watch the death of the boy. And as she sat there, she began to sob. Wow. So let's get to the happy part, but it takes a little while to get there. God heard the boy crying, and the angel of God called to Hagar from heaven and said to her, What is the matter, Hagar? Do not be afraid. God has heard the boy crying as he lies there. Lift the boy up and take him by the hand, for I will make him a great nation. There's the hope. There's the promise. All alone there, hopeless, crying, and she hears the voice of the angel of the Lord. Now, have you heard this story before? Probably some of you had. For me, I look at that and I wonder, why did the angel start out saying, basically, Hagar, what's your problem? Hagar, what's wrong, Hagar? What's the matter, Hagar? Now, as a minister, you always try to, tamp that down a little bit. Oh, it wasn't really, it was just like, Hagar, what's the matter? No, it has an edge on it. What he said has an edge on it. What is your problem? Not a terrible, sarcastic edge, but Hagar, what's your problem? What's wrong? In the old King James, what ails you? God has heard the voice of the lad where he is. Why? I think about this. It's interesting because the Lord does this a lot in the Word. Okay? Think about it right away get to the book of Genesis, right? They ate of the forbidden fruit. Here comes God, all-knowing God. What does God say? What have you done? Well, don't you know what we've done? And they explained to him what they had done. Again, right away, a couple of stories next, Cain and Abel. Where's your brother? He asks Cain. Am I my brother's keeper? Again and again, it happens. Elijah's running for his life as Jezebel, the queen, is hunting for him to kill him. He runs, he hides in a cave, he's cowering. And a voice comes out of the darkness. What are you doing here, Elijah? Even in the New Testament, just one more example, there's two blind men. They've probably been waiting for the Lord to come by, the temple for maybe days, weeks, months, we don't know. And finally, here he comes. Lord, help us, help us. And the Lord looks at them and says, what is it that you want me to do for you? We're blind. Good. Thank you. Why does the Lord ask us that question? Well, how many of us have gone, I know I do this all the time. Probably, I don't know what time in the afternoon, but I'm going, what is bothering me? Something's like on my mind. Something's got me down. I don't know what it is. And sometimes I have to look back and say, wait a minute. What is this? And you know where sometimes I can trace it back to? I think you can relate to this. Something I read on social media that was like, oh, that's a bummer kind of thing. And forget about it, but it sticks with you all day long. And it's not until I can go back and go, what is that thing? And I go, that? And I go, let go of that. And I let go of it, and life can go on. What the Lord is saying here in all those times is, tell me what's wrong. Look at yourself. Self-examination. Because generally, a lot of the times we just go, oh, Lord, I just feel so bad. Make me feel better. Well, what's happening in your life? Oh, no, just make me feel better. No. What ails you? What is the matter? And when we do that, we get an opportunity. She doesn't answer him here verbally, but she has to think about it. And in all of those scenarios, if you go through, they reflect. They reflect on, this is what's wrong with me. And oftentimes we'll confess, I'm the only one left, Elijah said. They're trying to kill me. So he asks that so we will actually look back in our lives and go, what is the matter? And find that thing. Find that thing that we had given up on. What's the matter? I thought that my marriage was going to be great, and I'm having a hard time here. It doesn't look like all this beautiful stuff, I was taught is not happening. I thought I was going to go out and I was going to have, this opportunity to really make a difference in this world, and I'm not doing it. Or how about this one? For some of us who are getting older in life, we can look at, our lives, and there's so many places where human nature just says, I don't have to worry about that anymore. I'm letting go. I'm letting go of this. I'm letting go of that. I'm a senior citizen now. I don't have to worry about that stuff anymore. And yet, we care. We care about life. You can't walk away. You can go bow shot away, maybe. So what ails you? Tell me. And when we do get specific, it's almost like the Lord's answer is right there. When he's like, I need help with this. Boom, here it is. So what he says here is, go back. I've heard the voice of the lad. go back. Go back and lift him up. And he says, lift him up with your hand. Give him support. The Lord is saying to us, I know it's painful. And maybe life isn't going to happen just exactly the way you thought it would. In fact, it's not. But it's going to be wonderful if you let it happen. Spiritually, there is nothing stopping us from following the Lord because it's his power inside that changes us. It's he is the one that will revive us, that shows us the way, and we can. We can live by those dreams spiritually. Maybe not in the way we thought. But the Lord didn't give us all these dreams about life. The Lord didn't show us in his revelation what it can mean to be an angelic being. The Lord didn't show us all these things that we can have, the happiness in our lives that is available if we walk this path, unless it were possible in some way or another to have that fulfilled. So the Lord really saying to us, don't give up. Don't give up. It can still happen for you. Go back and lift up that child. Go back and lift up those ideals. Maybe you're not going to do it this way, but you can do it this way. Go back. Maybe this isn't the way it's going to happen for you, but there is another way, and it's even better. Go back, lift up the lad. Lift him up with your hands, it says. You know, hands in the word everywhere represent power. Power. You know, everything in your hand. That's why it's always about the right hand of God, or so many places where it talks about the laying on of hands. It's just the all power of a human being can be in their hands, and the blessings in all that we do. And so to lift up that boy with your hands, put everything you've got into living by what you know and what you love in your life. And he promises, he says, I'm going to make him a great nation. It's not simply, he's going to live. You know, you're going to find a little house in Egypt, you're going to be fine. No, I'm going to make him a great nation. So she does. She hears him. Now, a well appears before her. Now, it's unclear whether she goes and lifts him up and then the well appeared, or the well appears right away and then she's, oh, good, and then she goes and gives him the water. Either way, it works. The well is a symbol of the Lord's word, of the Bible. You know, and that the Bible all can have answers for us. It never runs out. The truth never runs out in here. Deeper and deeper levels of meaning. We'll never be able to say, oh, now I've got it. You know, more and more in here. This is the well of water. Very different from the skin that she held on her back. That was basically, think about that as the very simple truths that we carry in our lives that we really believe are from us. I can do this without God. I understand life myself. We don't even think about God, really. Then things happen bad and we start to turn, we start to open. And when that well appears, really the Lord is saying to us, there's a source of truth, of water that will never run out. Take that. Feed the child. You know, support that child. Support the dreams that you have by thinking about all the good things that the Lord can do to help us to get there. Use those truths from the Lord's word, even if they are the soothing ones about the Lord giving us peace, the Lord showing us the way, the Lord being with us in these times where we're crying in the wilderness, wondering what we're going to do. He's there. He's there. And the Lord's word shows us that way. So she goes and she lifts up the child and feeds him the water, and he is revived. Now, it's so, again, I mean, when you listen and hear this story, sometimes, because it's been around for, centuries, you know, sometimes like, oh, yes, she went back, she lifted up the child, and the child was revived. Put yourself in her heart and mind. Imagine going back. Tough. Imagine lifting up your child, seeing the well, and giving your child a drink, and he's starting to revive. I see tears. I see laughter. I see so much emotion in that as she lifts him up and he's reviving. But the really wonderful thing is it does say at the very end of this story, and you know what? This is one of these happily ever after stories. You know what? He became he became a great nation. In fact, did you know Islam looks back to Ishmael as that, the heart of where they started on their journey? Remember, Abraham is the father of the great world religions. And Islam says, yeah, that was, Ishmael, that's where we come from, out of that there. So, literally, he became a great nation. Now, it may end there, but it's so beautiful because the Lord, it's almost like the Lord puts a cherry on top of this story or gives us dessert or however you ever want to look at it. But here is such a beautiful thing, and people can miss it so easily. Remember, Hagar went away a bow's shot. And a bow represents doctrine, and getting as far away from doctrine as possible, although still, holding on. She didn't leave. She walked away. She still cared, just when she wasn't in touch with it, right? Ishmael, it says, not only became a great nation, he became an expert archer. He became an archer. What does that mean? Well, think about it. From going a bow shot away in resignation, in losing hope, coming back and lifting up those dreams and working with it, we become, that part inside of us that's Ishmael, becomes an expert about hitting the target. It's like, what do I need to do in my life with this situation? That's what I need to do. How about over here? There it is. Mostly the Lord's Word is teaching us this stuff, but that's the whole thing. Is not only are we going to become something good and beautiful, now, here, eternity, it's going to happen, but we're going to become an expert in what we feared. We're going to become an expert in what we walked away from. We're going to realize that the Lord gave us these dreams, these hopes, because they're going to come true. Now, I know that's really hard in the middle of the real pain. It's really hard. And yeah, it's true. It doesn't always work out the way we thought it would. But it does work out. The one God of heaven and earth, all-powerful, almighty, all-loving, can do it if we're willing to go back and lift up that child and give it a shot. And that's what she does. So that's a story, folks, and pray for all of us that we can learn that lesson. And if you join me in prayer, we will say a prayer and then say the Lord's Prayer. Given us so many ways we can heal in those times of need. Help us to hear your voice. Even if your voice says, look, you got to take responsibility here. Help us to hear that and to move forward. Because we do believe that you gave us all these beautiful, beautiful dreams, ideas, ideals. Because we can be what you want us to be. And we just ask you to give us that hope and that strength just for today. Amen. Say the Lord's Prayer together. Our Father, who art in the heavens, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, as in heaven, so upon the earth. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we also forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord cause his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. The Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. Amen.
I can almost see it, that dream I'm dreaming, but there's a voice inside my head saying you'll never reach it. Every step I'm taking, every move I make feels lost with no direction. My faith is shaken, but I There's always gonna be another mountain. I'm always gonna wanna make it move. Always gonna be an uphill battle. Sometimes you're gonna have to lose. Ain't about how fast I get there. Ain't about what's waiting on the other side. It's the climb. The struggles I'm facing, the chances I'm taking, sometimes might knock me down, but no, I'm not breaking. I may not know it, but these are the moments that I'm gonna remember most. Yeah, just gotta keep going, and I gotta be strong. Just keep pushing on, 'cause there's always gonna be another mountain. I'm always gonna wanna make it move. Always gonna be an uphill battle. Sometimes we're gonna have to lose. Ain't about how fast I get there. Ain't about what's waiting on the other side. It's the climb. There's always gonna be another mountain. I'm always gonna